Okay. So today is Thursday, January 2nd, 2025. It's going to feel kind of weird saying 2025 instead of 2024. Anytime it's a new year, I always have to just get out of that habit of saying the previous year. But some housekeeping things to get out of the way. Number one, it's really, really cold today. That is why I am not doing a video in a car. It is sub-freezing, or it's like right around freezing. I'm kind of fluctuating a little, but I'm like, I don't want to be in my car right now. I would rather be in a room. Unfortunately, this room is also pretty fucking cold. Number two, I'll go ahead and say I'm a little bit frustrated because I've got this little thing, like a phone holder that I use, which I put my phone in to record. I don't know where it is. There's like one spot where I keep it, unless I put it in my car because I'm recording, and maybe that's where it is. I just didn't see it. Or if I leave it in Clay's room, which is where I'm at right now, but I don't see it either, right? Luckily, there was a water bottle, so I'm just using a water bottle to hold my phone up, and hopefully it doesn't fall. Sorry, I was kind of hoping it would just comedically fall right after I said that, but we'll take the fact that it doesn't. So I'm just a little miffed I don't know where it is. I'm going to have to try to look for it and find it, I guess. Hopefully it is in the car. Other housekeeping things. Last year, I did do one of these every week. Sometimes it was a little after Thursday, sometimes it was like a day or two before Thursday, but I made sure to do one every week. And while there's a lot of video things that fell off, like me never really doing the worm one, quick bit in that, I'm very glad I was able to at least do this and keep it consistent. Taking that pin out real quick, I never actually got around to doing that worm tier list in a video. I did just make the ARC tier list. I put it as a community post. I think I put it on Twitter as well. So you're interested, there it is. I'm sorry. I tried recording it at one point. I think I said this in the last video where I tried and it just wasn't happening. It just wasn't clicking. It's like, I can make this. I just don't feel like talking about it. I feel like that's a pretty good segue into just how December felt. And not in a depressing kind of way. Not like, oh man, I don't have any holiday spirit. I don't have any holiday cheer. I'm just sad. I'm just depressed. It's like, no, I just didn't really want to do anything. Like, December was just very, for lack of a better word, chill. Which is funny because even though it's cold, like, it wasn't that cold. Like, we never actually got any snow. And I feel like I'm really bad when it comes to cold, like I am today. January doesn't pull any punches even at the start. But I don't know, I was just like, all right, here's some shit that I want to do. Here's like a bunch of videos that I want to do. I'm like, what did I do in December? Like, I did some writing, not as much as I wanted, but I did do some. I watched Guilty Crown. That's like the one project that I actually like did and saw all the way through, was fucking that of all things. But no, like, December was just kind of low-key. Like I said, my buddy Billy came in from out of town and tried to make sure I spent a lot of time with him. Tried to make sure I spent time with my family and with my friends. It was a change of pace. And honestly, it was a pretty nice, relaxing change of pace. I am hoping to just be able to be, more productive here in January and get a lot of stuff done. Excuse me, while also making sure have some time to just rest, relax, recharge, because believe it or not, we need those things. I think I had a couple other I guess like my other housekeeping things to bring up are, number one, since it is now January, it is officially 2025. I can now look back on 2024 and say like, okay, it's done. This is all the media. This is all the art that I consumed in 2024. And I can start to do my end of year tier lists. So I've got those like, I went ahead and found like thumbnails for everything. Although I will say I didn't do one for every arc of Worm because I'm not exactly sure where I could find that. Like, maybe on the Parahumans wiki I could do that. But Worm, I'm just like, Worm is just going to be one thing. And even still, there's like almost 240 things on the list. So it's going to be a lot. But it's been like, yeah, here's albums, which I think might be a bit more interesting than when I did albums last year, because last year it was just like, yeah, here's just some that I listened to. A lot of them were like, here's the Grammy nominated ones, so that'd be kind of fun, and it was. And now it's more of, okay, I listened to all of Foo Fighters. Here's kind of what I think about Foo Fighters as a whole, and then going through the individuals. Here's what I like. I listened to all of Daft Punk. Here's what I think of Daft Punk, etc., etc. And I'll be honest, there's gonna be probably a good handful of albums where I'm like, I know I listened to this, and I just don't remember it. And you know what? Sometimes that happens. And there's probably going to be some albums where I'm like, I absolutely loved this. I could not tell you a single song off of this album, but I just remember listening to it. And like, this is how I felt. Or like, this is kind of the connection it made. I think it, like, again, because of, let me try that again into actually form functioning words with my mouth. Because I try to listen to an artist's entire library, at the very least their entire studio library. I think the only artist I really went out of my way to listen to everything was Kendrick, which made it very fortuitous. So like, I just finished Kendrick, and like a week later his new album drops. Like, that was kind of perfect. I do kind of like to be able to say, like, this is what I think of this artist as a whole, or it's like looking over their journey. This is kind of what I think of the evolution of their sound, due to like the older stuff, do I like the newer stuff, blah, 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 blah. I'm actually going to have some fun with that. But I think it'll be like albums, things I read. So that's going to be books, comics, which I don't think there's a lot of either of those. Again, Worm would have been just like a lot. Like, I read more books than it appears here, but most of them were one series. And visual novels. And visual novels, some of them are going to be more, for example, to me, Toteno feels like more of something I read. Nirvana Initiative this is something I played. It really depends on how much gameplay is there really to the VN. And I guess transition, games that I played, shows that I watched, both live action and animated in one category, movies. I think that's it. I don't know. And I guess I will say, when it comes to shows, generally speaking, kind of like what I did last year, is I want each season to be its own thing. So, excuse me, like Guilty Crown, it's 2 cores, but it's 1 season. Guilty Crown is only 1 entry. Friendship is Magic is 9 seasons. It's 9 entries. Atlanta, I watched 4 seasons. There's only 4. But I watched all 4 seasons. Each one will be its own entry on the tier list. And then kind of maybe like an overall, this is what I think of the show overall, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so I think that's it for that bit of housekeeping, which similarly we go to the next bit of housekeeping, where a couple days ago I sat down and I made my list for 2025, because there is a literal list. And yes, it was basically, it's like, okay, so here's the 2024 list. Let me just change that to 5 and we're good. One thing I did that I didn't do for 2024 is going down each category in like comics, VNs, games, etc., etc. I divided them all into 3 categories. The way I did it last year, which I specifically did for games, was tier 1 means I have immediate access to it. Tier 2 means I don't have immediate access to it, but I could get it. Like, the game is out, or I know a friend that I can borrow it from, but it's not currently in my possession. And then, tier 3 is it's not out yet. I did it a little differently this time. I did this for every category. It's tier 1 means I have high interest. This is something that I am very interested in watching, playing, reading, etc., etc. Tier 2, medium interest. Like, I'm interested. It's not like like, I am excited. I am chomping at the bit for this. But I've got some interest. Like, it seems pretty neat. And then tier 3 is like, I've heard that it exists, and it seems like kind of neat, so I threw it on the list just in case, but look, I'm not going to lose any sleep if I don't get to it. And there's a lot in every category. I'm not going to get to most of this shit. I mean, another year went by where I didn't read One Piece, and I'm going to be honest, I just put it in medium interest at this point. Like, this is like 3 straight years that I said, I'm going to read it, and then just didn't. And even last year, like, yeah, I read Skypiea. I don't even think I put Skypiea on the list of all, like, the media I consumed. Even though I did. Like, I probably should do that before I do the tier list. But, it didn't do much for me. Unfortunately, I just didn't really get into Skypiea. I don't know. Anyways, it's another year where I didn't read One Piece. I'm like, look, let's call a spade a spade. Clearly, it's not that important to me. Maybe if I like get to Water 7, because I've heard Water 7's fantastic, but I also heard that Skypiea was fantastic, and again, it just didn't click. But to my point, there's a lot of stuff in every category. So, I don't know how much of it I'm going to get to, but what I want to go ahead and say is what I'm going to be starting in every category, and then try to give updates on that. So, starting with, I guess, like with movies, those are just like, look, here's just a list of movies. Like, it's not like this is the next one I'm going to watch. It's just, all right, at one of these days I'm going to say, let me watch a movie. Here's the list. Let me pick a couple, and like we'll see what happens. When it comes to shows, there's a big four. There's other things at high interest, but to me there's really a big four because they're all really long, and I'm very interested in all of them. The Wire, The Sopranos, Mad Men, and Gundam. Because last year I was supposed to watch Gundam, and I just didn't. It was on the list. I was like, hey, like I'm gonna roll for it. If it's Gundam time, it's Gundam time, and it was never Gundam time. There is a lot of Gundam. So what I am going to do is, first and foremost, I'm going to primarily focus just on UC stuff, on Universal Century. And because everything is so long, and again, there's so much of it, I think I'll like watch a couple things, take a break, probably go to one of the other big three shows, watch that, get back to Gundam for a bit, blah, 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 blah. So I think the way I kind of want to break it down is Zeta, Double Zeta, Char's Counterattack, then take a break. Then when I get back to it, I think after that I said it's going to be Unicorn, and then I might just take a break after Unicorn, and then when I come back, I was talking to my friend N7 about it, and he recommended a lot of UC OVAs, and I don't remember them all off the top of my head, but like here's just the list of OVAs I'm going to watch. Take a break, do the next one, and then I think it's Victory Gundam and Turn A, and then I think I'm good. We'll see at that point. Oh, also, I know there's a new Gundam show coming out this year. I think Jose and I said we're going to try to watch together. But aside from that, I think that's kind of it. If there's other Gundam shows that I want to watch afterwards, I'll give, like, I've already watched G and I loved it. I've already watched Witch from Mercury and I loved it. I tried watching Gundam Wing, I just didn't get into it. And this was recent. It's not like I tried watching it 10 years ago and I didn't like it. It's like, this was... It was when Trump got elected. No, it was when Biden got elected. Because I remember we watched G Gundam, and then it was like a couple weeks or so before the election, and then N7 sent us that meme of Master Age just come out of nowhere and swept all the votes, and like the entire election map was purple, and shit killed me. It's like his first rule, like his first order as president is he's gonna turn the United States into Super Age. I tried watching Gundam Wing like not long after, I just didn't get into it. I know I watched Double O when it came out, like on the Sci-Fi Channel, and I liked it fine, but I didn't love it. And from what I've heard from like my friends that watch Gundam is like, yeah, don't really bother watching it again. I do want to watch Seed at some point. It's something I remember watching with my sister because Inuyasha came on right after, and we had to suffer through Gundam Seed first. It just didn't do anything for me. It felt very slow and boring. I'm like, look, I know the show I want to watch. This ain't it, Chief. And I've always been curious. It's like, look, was it just the fact that it came on at 10:30 p.m. and I was like 8? Is it also just the fact that I was like 8 and what the show was trying to do was over my head? I've heard some people love it. I know Jose recently watched it. He's like, no, like, I really liked Seed. I've heard other people say, like, it kind of sucks or it's kind of boring. I do want to check it out for myself. I don't know if that'll be a this year thing, if it'll be next year. And there's going to be a lot of Gundam already. We'll see how it plays out. But that's kind of the plan for shows. For games, Metaphor Fantasia, I was like, this is the thing I want to play and need to play. Aside, like, when that's done, I don't know. There's a lot of games in high priority. Obviously, when Trails in the Sky the First comes out, kind of dropping everything to play it. When Kaino Kaseki becomes available, because it technically is, I think I'm just kind of waiting for it to be on PC, assuming there's like a patch or, like you can still do the easy translation thing. I think for me that would just be a lot easier. Excuse me. So I'll probably just do that. And then like some other things off the top of my head, like the Little Goody Two Shoes game, I was really interested in, and I haven't checked it out yet. Still want to play Digimon Survive. I still want to play Rain Code. Probably after I play Rain Code, like I'm gonna want to play the other one. What is it called? That hasn't come out yet. The like 100. I don't remember, but it's that new Kodaka game on the Switch. I'm like, I'm really interested in that. Definitely when I didn't even put it on the list, like when the new Pokemon game comes out, when Pokemon Z does, but I don't know. It almost kind of goes without saying. Like, yeah, a new Pokemon game came out. Even if the Trails in the Sky remake comes out at the same time, I think we all know I'm playing Pokemon first. I kind of just have to play Pokemon first. Sorry, now I'm just like thinking about it. I'm really, really excited to play Pokemon when it drops. Anyways, but when's Pokemon Day? That's February. It's early February. I assume that's when we're gonna probably hear more about it. Did we really not hear about that game for like an entire year? That's wild. But alright, I mean, like, I hope development's going well. I hope the game's fun as shit. If it's anything like the last Legends game, it's gonna be fun as shit. Anyways, that's games. Books. I'm gonna get back into Project Horizon soon. Because I was like, I'm not going to do it, so I can do the worm thing, which I didn't actually end up doing, which means I should have just been listening to Horizons. If I had, I'd probably be at least done with Blood and Stars, or really close to it. I maybe would have been somewhere in Homecoming. Actually, wait. Is Homecoming 3 or 4? I don't remember. Oh, yeah, that's... Security Mayor, Blood and Stars. 5 is Horizon. Either 3 or 4 is, I think, Homecoming, and that means I don't remember at all what the other volume is called. Fucking whoops, but... I have to binge it. I will definitely finish that this year. Like, that is, of all, like, the high priority things to do, Horizons is, like, really, really high for me, because it just is, man. Terms of albums, which again, I'm just trying to like go by artist. I'm starting with Queen. I listened to Queen and Queen 2 yesterday. I'm already about halfway through Sheer Heart Attack. I have a good handful of artists that are in my high interest. Like, I know Linkin Park, because I listened to a lot of Linkin Park growing up, but there's a good amount of albums I just haven't heard, and I haven't heard the new one since Chester passed. Esperanza Spalding has been on my list for just a long time. Like, I think I had said this when I was going through Arcade Fire and Radiohead, where it's like, these are artists that I've heard about how great they are, and I've been really wanting to listen to their stuff and just never did it, and that's kind of what inspired the idea of the list. Esperanza Spalding is like that too. So I don't know when I'm going to get around to her, but she's on the list. Like, when the number comes up, the number comes up. We'll see how it goes. What am I missing? Comics. Okay, I think it's comics and VNs. So with comics right now, I'm reading the Incal, which is, I believe the artist is Mobius, and the writer is Jodorowsky? I might be getting the name wrong. But he's that guy who had an idea for a Dune movie. I don't want to say a Dune adaptation. He's like, I've never read Dune. I never intend to read Dune. This is my understanding of what it is, and this is what I'm going to do with it. It's his comic. I'm about halfway through it. I'm enjoying it. It's about as weird as I would expect something like from this guy, but it is kind of neat. It's fun. I am enjoying it. VNs. I know Tsukihime is on there. I know Save the Princess is on there. Is it Save the Princess, Slay the Princess? I think it's Save the Princess. And Psychonia. I think for me, Psychonia is the really big one that I really wanted to read last year, just never got around to it. So I think that's kind of my main focus right now per every category. And I'll give weekly updates as to how they're going, which ones have I started, which I don't know, maybe we'll be in June. I'm like, I still haven't started Gundam. I don't know. But we'll see how all that goes. As for when I'm going to record the 2024 tier list videos, I'm planning on doing that here in January. I don't know. I kind of want to do it on days off because they're going to be long, and just having like I got a full day, I can do this. So I think my tentative plan is, oh, excuse me. I think my tentative plan is to wake the fuck up. I think my tentative plan is probably next week. I'm usually off on Mondays and Tuesdays. So hopefully Monday and or Tuesday can get a couple of them knocked out. If I can get them all done, that'd be dope as shit. But we'll see how that goes. So I think with all of that said, all 20 minutes of housekeeping stuff out of the way, there's one last bit of housekeeping, which I was kind of saving for last to be the transition. Like, let me just talk about the week. Happy New Year. Or maybe should have just said it at the start. I was like, yeah, like it is the second day of the year. This is the first CTT. I guess it's an RTT because it's too cold to be in the fucking car of the year. I hope you had a good 2024. I know a lot of people that seem to have like a pretty good one, like with some ups and downs. I have some people who are like really important to me that had really shitty years. I hope their 2025s are a lot better. I hope your 2025 is a lot better. Even if you had a fantastic 2024, good, great. Let's make the next one even better. Yeah. Let me actually start looking at my notes. Just some of the stuff I want to talk about this week. All right. So normally, we have a New Year's party on New Year's Eve, but because Billy was in town, I wasn't going to be here for New Year's Eve. We had ours last week. That was last Friday. I had a really good time. I'll say this. New Year's Eve is generally the one time of the year where I'll just kind of say, you know what? I'll drink. I'll drink on occasion. I'll have like a drink, maybe two, but I do that very sparingly. New Year's Eve is the one time where I'm like, all right, my friends are here, people are drinking. Is that tequila? Cool, give me some. Is that scotch? Cool, give me some. And just kind of go for it. And for me, the fact that I make it that this is the only time of the year I do this makes me not feel too bad about indulging in it, It's like, this is a special occasion. It's okay. I also know that when I get drunk, I don't, like, do stupid shit. Like, I don't throw up. I don't, like, piss myself or anything. It's just like, yeah, I'm a little looser than usual, but I'm generally pretty loose anyways. Like, it's nothing too crazy. And I think it was like the next day, me and some of the guys went out to get hot pot, and it was just really nice. It's just a very like nice communal kind of thing. Like, I'd have some lamb, I'd have some ribeye. One of the broths we used was just miso soup, and I love miso soup. And then so miso soup, after meat has been cooking in it, tastes even better, believe it or not. It's just a great time. Let me talk about football for a bit. Chris and I have still not gotten around to making our next football video. I think by this point we were supposed to have made like 2 more, and we still haven't. Whoops. So I don't know when. We might just do it after this week. It's like, all right, the regular season is done. I think so. We'll probably just say the regular season is done. Here's everybody. First off, how did our predictions look? At the start of the year, and then the playoff predictions we made in the middle of the year. Wow, did I fuck up the NFC West? I was like, all right, start of the year said the 49ers, and I feel like that's a very, like, I'm not mad at myself for picking the Niners. They got ravaged by injury, shit happens. Then in the middle of the year, I had still said, I think they get in as a wild card. The Cardinals are looking really good. I'm going to say the Cardinals win the West. What a dog shit pick that was. I was like, man, I don't really believe in the Rams. I don't really see them doing much. They're in the playoffs now. Anything can fucking happen. Yeah, I mean, I've made fun of it a few times already, but saying that, yeah, the Vikings, they're just going to be a nothing team. They're not good. They might get the fucking 1 seed in a couple days. I will eat shit on that one 100%. I said the Bengals would miss the playoffs and they'd miss it by like a game, and it would probably be that game they lost to the Patriots. That's still in play. They still have a chance to make the playoffs, but they might miss it, and if they do, it will be by a game. At least like yeah. So even if that's something, even if they do make the playoffs, it's not one I'm gonna feel that bad about. And the same with the Broncos. I was like, I got this weird gut feeling the Broncos are gonna make the playoffs. They might still miss it, but with how close they were, I don't feel that bad about that pick. Saying that the Texans are still going to win the division, but I don't feel that good about them. That feels like a good pick. Saying Miami's going to get the 1 seed. I mean, clearly not. They still probably going to miss the playoffs, but they could still do it. And Tua's been injured, and like maybe if he wasn't injured, this shit could happen. Saying that Buffalo wasn't going to make the playoffs, like I have to eat shit on that one. Like absolutely, that's my Vikings pick for the AFC. Or like I got this totally wrong, but I'm just so happy to like I'm wearing my Saints shirt. I didn't even mean to. Like I'm just always happy seeing the Falcons lose. It's a great feeling, and the fact that to make the playoffs, the Falcons have to root for the Saints to win is hilarious. I think I have actually seen some Falcons fans kind of going, nah, I'm not going to root for the Saints. It just goes against my character. And I've seen Saints fans, self-included, say, I kind of hope we throw the game just to make sure the Falcons don't get in. And to be fair, even if we aren't trying to throw the game, we're going to lose. This team is terrible. This team got embarrassed by the Packers. And sure, the Green Bay is a really good team right now. It's like, that happens, but holy shit. I know we've had a lot of injuries. I know we're starting a rookie QB, and it was like his 4th start, maybe, with no O-line, no weapons, because no one's fucking healthy. But damn! And then we got embarrassed at home by the Raiders. They're terrible! We're so bad! That's the thing, I'm like, even if we wanted to beat the Bucks, and I don't think we do, because I would rather see Tampa win the division than Atlanta. Even if we were trying, we'd still probably lose by 50. Remember earlier in the year when we were trying and for like 3 quarters it was a really good game, and then in the 4th quarter they just absolutely destroyed us? I don't know. Like, this team needs... we need a just full-on rebuild. Let's get a coach that we really believe in. Like, this is our leader of men. Let's try to find a QB that we think this is the guy for the future. That's probably not going to be Derek Carr. Maybe that can be Rattler if we build around him. Maybe we find a kid in the draft. I'm not sure. Build the trenches, because that's how you do it. Because even if you got a good QB, if the O-line is dog shit, what's he gonna do? Build the offensive line, build the defensive line, and let's go. Now, that doesn't mean that's all gonna happen in one draft and one offseason. It's a rebuild. It's not a reload. But I'm hopeful that if we're able, I don't know, I guess I'm just like, if we're able to draft well and like really do some good shit, maybe we can have something to believe in next year. And if we're not like good, we can at least see, oh, okay, here are the clear strengths and the clear weaknesses that we can improve on. Because that was kind of the problem this year. It's like, what the fuck do we do well? Do we run the ball well? Well, when Eric McCoy got injured in week 3, we couldn't run anymore. Do we throw well? We're not pass protecting well, so I can't tell because Carr never has any fucking time. Also, our receivers keep getting injured, so I don't know. Is the defense good? No, they're fucking terrible. Oh, like they were good for like a few games and then just nope. Oh boy, what a dog shit show of a season. But hopefully we lose another game so the Falcons don't make the playoffs and our draft stock gets a little bit better and we can really start rebuilding and try to be something in a few years. Let's see. What the fuck did that say? Oh, I was like, samurai. No, wait, that's a squirrel. I don't know how to read. Yeah, the squirrels are back, and the squirrels fucking suck. I know one of them attacked Clay the other day. I didn't see it, but he said, yeah, it like lunged at him and got him. Like he was wearing his jacket, so it didn't actually hurt him. But they're just assholes. Like squirrels. I was completely fine with squirrels before, and I'm like, no, yeah, they kind of suck. Fuck these things, man. Let's see. I talked about the list. Okay, so only a couple things to bring up. Number one is just writing. So I didn't really touch Severance much in the second half of the year. And a lot of that, part of that was like, I'm just kind of working on some other stuff. Part of it is like, I'm hanging out with my friends more. And then also, Orichalcum is the big writing thing that I'm actually doing. So, at some point, I'm going to get back into Severance, and we'll actually finish my part of it. It's going to be great. I'm excited for it. We'll get to it when we get to it, when Orichalcum is done. So, in terms of that, I've done a lot of, like, progress and development on other parts of the story, and I'm very excited for it. Like, I had a dream last week, like, about a mafia crime family, and I was like, huh, is that something that's in this story? Because the framework for that kind of exists. And I've been playing around with the idea for a few days, and the more I do, the more I'm like, oh man, there's some shit later that's gonna be so cool and so fun. And boy, some of that shit's gonna be real dark. But the rest of it's gonna be so cool. So I'm excited for that. It's been really fun to do that. In terms of actual writing, like I said, where I'm at right now is I'm revising this draft, and I'm intending this to be the final draft. Or at the very least, it's the final draft that I then send out to agents. And if they want further editing from there, yeah, well, that's something we'll talk about. But this is my, like, all right, let's go through one more time to make sure I'm happy with it. So let's do what we can to make it flow better, to, try to make the prose tighter, more concise. If there's any lore problems I'm running into, let's just try to make sure everything is internally consistent, because some of the stuff that I had up here was honestly more of a few drafts ago, and the story's changed since. And I've noticed some things like that, because there was a point where I was thinking to myself, look, like, do I really want to do this? Like, I just finished drafting it, I just finished, like, making it, like, some of these edits anyways. Could I just send it out? And I was just like, no. That just feels lazy. And I don't want to do that. I want to make sure I am giving this my all. And if I genuinely think I need one more pass, I have to make that one more pass. And I'm like, no, I feel very glad I'm making that one more pass, because again, there have been some like consistency things. Like, I'm glad I checked that. And then just some ways I can like affect some foreshadowing, or some ways I think are better at expressing character, blah, 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 blah. Just explaining some bits of the lore and like how some of the powers work a little bit better, or at some points kind of at all. I think I'm really making progress. I've also cut, I think at this point, like 10 pages. And what's interesting is it's not like, all right, I just deleted an entire page. It's just kind of more of, all right, by trimming this sentence and this paragraph, just little by little, make it just a little bit shorter. It's like, all right, is there a way I can make this little bit fit on the rest of the page? Yeah, then blah, 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 blah. I've noticed, like, oh yeah, a few pages have kind of disappeared, and I think I've cut like 3,000 words or so. And I was at like high, I think when I was starting this, like when I finished the last draft, it was at about 98, something like 98.7, 98.8. And now I'm at about like 95.6 or so. I'm about a quarter of the way through in terms of pages. I'm at about 360 pages total-ish, and I'm around page 90. So progress is going. Okay, how many chapters? There's 23. Wait, is it 23? Yeah, 23 chapters, and I've done 5, and I'm on chapter 6. So yeah, again, progress is going. I think my official goal is I want to be done with this by the end of January. And I will say, I feel like when it comes to watching shows and playing games and shit, that I'm probably not going to get to as much until I finish this. Like, this is, of all the high interest, high priority, this is the top of the list. Excuse me. And then when that's done, at some point I'm going to get into Severance and do that shit too. When both of those are done, I know the next writing project is going to be Oro, and I'm probably just going to chill on Oro for a bit. But we'll see how all that goes. That's pretty much it for this week. Like, I got a letter from a friend of mine, and it was really nice. I got it on New Year's Eve, and I was really hoping I would get it, like, before the end of the year, and I did. That's really fun. I haven't responded yet. Apparently I still haven't woken up yet either. But plan on responding to that. If not by the end of the week, like by the end of next week. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, I hope you have a good New Year. I hope 2024 was fine. I hope you had a good holiday season, and thanks for sticking around. I do appreciate it.